everybody, how are you doing? Hey, do you like this cool weather? I sure do. Look at my hoodie. Hey, we're going into the city again today to meet one of our everyday heroes, and he is awesome. He's going to tell us how the armor of God helps him. Hey, but first, here comes the fun bus for our game. You are going to love this one. It's so funny. You have to find emojis in these city pictures. I hope it's not too hard for you. Hey, here's the first one. I'll give you a hint. It's either a bus or a fountain. Here comes our next one. Oh, now here is the last one. Oh, and it might be the trickiest. That was a fun game. We'll do another one of those in a couple of weeks. Now it's time to see what our reporter on the streets, Jo Miller, is up to. Who is she going to visit today? Let's find out. Here she is.
It's Jo on the Go, and I'm Jo Miller, coming to you live each and every day as I take to the streets to give you all the deets. Today is going to be shredded! We're going to catch up with professional skateboarder Carter Collins. How cool is that? Check out what we're all about today. Carter?
What's up, Jo? I'm so stoked to see you.
Those tricks were killer.
Oh, yeah? You saw that triple set trick with an ollie slide?
I think so. Whatever it's called, those moves are so crazy. Did it take you forever and a day to learn how to do all of that?
I was born to shred, but definitely spent a lot of time learning the tricks of the trade.
And I bet everyone thinks you are so cool. In fact, I have done some research.
As a reporter does.
Well, and I found out that you have at least 50 different proteges. For the people on the other side of the camera, explain what that means.
Sure. Well, a protege is just a fancy word for people who think that what you do is rad and they want to learn from you.
That's beyond cool that so many people are wanting to follow your lead. How did that even happen?
I've been skating for a long time, and I started hanging out with some other dudes that love to skate too. I was chilling with them, and then I started to notice that they were doing and saying some things that were the opposite of cool.
Oh, really? Explain for us what was going down.
Yeah, so here's an example. I was doing a tray flip down a 3-stair, right? And when I was done, I noticed some of the guys were over there by the quarter pipe saying some straight up bad words.
Ooh, that is not good. What'd you do about that scene?
It got pretty gnarly. The newer guys started following along. It started with bad words and stuff and eventually got way worse. They were excluding others and messing with different skaters' equipment, tons of stuff that God wouldn't be cool with. Negative influence all over the place.
Sounds like that was not top tier.
You're right, and I had a choice to make. I could take my board and bail, or I could join in and act like they do. I could either fit in, or I could take a stand for what was right.
It can be so hard to stand up and do the right thing. I've actually been reporting about the armor of God lately, and Carter, this whole sitch sounds like a perfect opportunity to put on the armor of godliness. That's the piece that protects our hearts from wanting to do the wrong thing while helping us have the power to do the right thing. I'm sure everyone is dying to know. What did you end up doing?
It was hard to take a stand against those guys. I mean, they were pretty cool, and I wanted them to like me, and I wanted them to skate with me. But I remembered that the devil uses other people that can be bad influences to turn our hearts away from God. Because I wanted to do what God says is right, I put on the armor of godliness and took a stand against the devil. I talked to those dudes, and you know what? It ended up being cooler than a 1080 flip. They realized that what they were doing was wrong, and they changed their ways.
So by taking a stand and doing what was right, they saw how they should act out here at the park. And now they follow your lead. Awesome! Hey Carter, thanks for hanging with us today and showing us exactly what the armor of godliness looks like in action.
Totally.
Well, that's it for us today. Join us next time for Joe on the Go. I can't wait to see who we will meet next.
That was amazing. Have you ever tried a skateboard? I don't know, but some of those tricks looked awesome, didn't they? I know that takes a lot of practice. Hey, I love finding out more about how our friends in the city use God's everyday armor to make the city a place where we see God at work. What piece of God's armor did Carter talk about? It was the armor of godliness. He said it helped him to do the right thing, even when it's tough. When people were saying the wrong things, he was able to speak up and say the right things because God gave him the power to be strong and to be their friend and try and help them. You know, Jesus was like that, wasn't he? He didn't turn away from bad people or yell at them or point a finger at them. He spent time with them and he loved them. He went to their houses and he had dinner with them. He tried to teach them about God's love. The armor of godliness helps our heart want to do the right thing and to say no to doing the wrong thing. We wear it over our heart because the Bible tells us we must protect our heart above all else. Friends, isn't it good to know that God's armor can protect us and help us to do and say the right thing? So here we are at our need to know. Stand up with me and let's say it together. Are you ready? Put on the armor of godliness. See, friends, I'm protecting my heart with the armor of godliness. Let's say it again. Put on the armor of godliness. And one more time. Put on the armor of godliness. Great job. Don't sit down now. It's time for our song. So let's sing together. Come on.
Put on the full armor of God. Stand strong against the evil one. Put on the full armor of God. The full armor of God. First things first, got the belt of truth. Ayo, ayo. Put on my boots, gotta tell the good news. The armor of God and the shield of faith. Got my sword and my helmet, now it's time to pray. Put on the full armor of God, stand strong against the evil one. Put on the full armor of God, the full armor of God. First things first, you got the belt of truth. Put on my boots, I gotta tell the good news. The armor of God and the shield of faith. Got my sword and my helmet, now it's time to pray. Put on the full armor of God, stand strong against the evil one. Put on the full armor of God, the full armor of God. Put on the full armor of God, stand strong against the evil one. Put on the full armor of God, the full armor of God. Now in faith we can stand against every evil plan. Now it's time to be strong. He has won. Put on the full armor of God, stand strong against the evil one. Put on the full armor of God, the full armor of God. Put on the full armor of God, stand strong against the evil one. Put on the full armor of God, the full armor of God.
Great, I love our song. Okay, shake it out now, come on. Let's sit down and listen to our Bible story. This one will remind us why we need to wear the armor of godliness.
God's people, the Israelites, had disobeyed God. Because of that, God allowed their enemies, the Midianites, to come and take over their land. The Israelites were so scared of the Midianites that they went and hid in caves. The Israelites needed help, so they prayed to God and asked Him to help them. The Bible tells us that God sent an angel to talk to a man named Gideon. Gideon was hiding in the caves too, because he was also afraid of the Midianites. The angel greeted Gideon by saying, "Mighty warrior, the Lord is with you." Gideon knew how badly he and his people had been treated. He said to the angel, "You say the Lord is with us. Then why has all of this happened?" The angel said, "You are strong. Go and save Israel." Gideon didn't agree with what the angel was saying. "How can I possibly save Israel? I'm not strong or important." But God promised to be with Gideon and to give him victory. Later that night, God spoke to Gideon and told him to tear down the altar that was built to one of the false gods named Baal, and the pole that was built to worship the false god Asherah. Gideon was supposed to build the right kind of altar where people could worship the one true God. Even though Gideon was scared, he believed that God would protect him and he could do the right thing. So Gideon waited until it was nighttime and then went out and did exactly what God told him to do. When everyone woke up the next morning, they could not believe their eyes. The altar to Baal was demolished and the Asherah pole was cut down. In its place was a new altar for worshiping the one true God. God used Gideon to do great things and gave him the power he needed even when he was scared. Sometimes it can be scary or hard to do what's right. That's because even though we can't see it, there's a spiritual battle taking place between God and the devil over the hearts of each person on earth. God has given us His armor to protect us and gives His power in the middle of this battle. When we put on the armor of godliness, it will protect our hearts from wanting to do the wrong thing and give us the power to do what's right. We can put on the armor of godliness.
This story helps us understand that it won't always be easy to do the right thing. Putting on the armor of godliness helps us choose God's way over our own way. God's way is always the best for us, isn't it, friends? Now, how can we put on the armor of godliness in real life? Here's Josh. Let's see how he used the armor of godliness.
Josh is a kid just like you. Josh tries his best to do the right thing every day. Earlier this week, one of Josh's friends asked to see the answers on his paper. Josh knew that it wasn't right to let his friend cheat off the paper, so Josh put on the armor of godliness and told his friend to try her best instead of cheating. When you put on the armor of godliness, you'll be able to choose what God says is right. When we put his full armor on, the enemy doesn't stand a chance. Okay, now we're going to put on God's armor together. Here, check this out.
Every day, I will wear the full armor of God. I put on the belt of truth so I can fight the devil's lies. I put on the armor of godliness to protect my heart and do what's right. I put on the good news boots so I'll be ready to show God's love all day. I hold up the shield of faith to block anything the enemy sends my way. I put on the helmet of salvation so I'll remember God will always love me. I use the sword of the Spirit because God's word is my best weapon against the enemy. Now, I stand firm and pray.
Wow, I love what we've learned about the armor of godliness today. I want God to protect my heart so I can do the right things. And you know what? I will be praying for you that you'll remember to put on the armor of godliness and make good choices. Hey, let's say our scripture together. Have you been practicing it? Look, I've got mine on my fridge. Tell your parents to print one for your fridge at redeemerpc.com/rock. Here we go. Let's say it together.
Put on all of God's armor. Then you can remain strong against the devil's evil plans. Ephesians 6:11.
Well, friends, it's time for me to go now. Hey, let me get my things ready. Oh my gosh, I got a new skateboard. I'm going down to the skateboard park to practice. Oh, wait a minute, I hear the bus. See you next week.